So in my previous video on YouTube, I talked about why, saving in Bitcoin is very, very, very important and why everyone should, look into it. And in this video, I'm going to really dive in, deep and talk about where you should start if you don't own any Bitcoin and why everyone's ultimate goal should be to own 0.01 Bitcoin. And I'm going to break down the mathematics with that. And again, why it's such a key number in my humble opinion. So let's get right into this video, guys. So obviously, as of right now, July the 4th, 2024, one Bitcoin is currently trading at 146,646 Canadian dollars. I'm going to reemphasize that it is Canadian dollars. It's not USD. If that was the case, we would be in altcoin season already and absolutely obliterating everything. But we're talking Canadian dollars. I'm from Toronto, so definitely speaking in terms of this for the Canadian value. So I want to first start off with the denominations of Bitcoin. For a lot of people that do not know, a simple way that you can break down the denomination of Bitcoin is basically having Satoshis, right? Satoshis are broken down in simple numbers, and then we have the value of Bitcoin right over here. Then we have the value of the USD. Now, why I'm saying everyone should own this amount, because this is very feasible for the average Canadian, the average American, the average European, the average person in the world can come up with 1.4K fiat currency for your native currency. And obviously, if you live in the United States, it's like a lot less. If you live in Europe, it's a lot less. And obviously, depending on the country that you're in. But here, specifically in Canada, 0.01 Bitcoin, which is basically a million Satoshis, you're looking at $1,466 and 43 cents as of right now, as I'm filming this video. Now, these are your benchmarks that you want to obviously strive for, putting in your first $15, which is basically your first 10,000 Satoshis. Then getting your first 100,000 Satoshis, which is basically $150. Then your first a million Satoshis, which is basically 1.4K. Then your first 10 million Satoshis, and then your first 100, and then obviously your 100 million Satoshis, which is basically one full Bitcoin. Now, why is it important to start focusing on, obviously 0.01 Bitcoin, which is in general Bitcoin, is because at the end of the day, guys, a lot of people think, oh, Bitcoin's so volatile. The cryptocurrency market is so volatile, but a lot of people don't realize is that the US dollar specifically has lost over 25% of its buying power since COVID-19. So that means that everybody that has saved $100 from COVID time has literally 70 to $65 worth of purchasing power. See, every single day that you go and you let buy and you don't have any money in the market, it's literally depleting and destroying your bank account, because fiat currency, which is printed out of thin air, it's losing value daily. So you're checking your savings account with your 10,000, with your 20,000, with your 30,000, with whatever number it is that you have in your checking account or your bank account, it's gonna lose value over the next 10 years. That's why the most riskiest thing that you can do, and the sure way that you will never build financial wealth or financial freedom or anything of freedom in that realm, whatever you define that as, because everyone has a different definition of that. It's nearly impossible. And if you really think about this, look at the price is in homes in dollars versus Bitcoin. In 2016, basically a $300,000 home could have basically been bought with 664 Bitcoin. In 2020, this same home for $330,000 is worth 45 Bitcoin. And in 2024, at $435,000 per home in the United States, you're looking at 6.6 Bitcoin. So if you guys notice, life gets a lot cheaper in Bitcoin. More Bitcoin equals more purchasing power, more purchasing power equals more, at the end of the day, freedom to do what you want, when you want, and not worry about anything. But when you focus on the iPhone, for example, which is something that it's feasible for the average person, and for those of you guys that do not know, I recently sold my iPhone 15 Pro Max for a little over $950, almost $1,000. that is going to appreciate it in value. My cell phone, my device, it's going to go down in value. And you guys can even see it right here. Look, in 2011, an iPhone 4S was worth basically in fiat currency to Bitcoin, it was worth 162 Bitcoin. iPhone 5 in 2012 gave you 52 Bitcoins. An iPhone 5S in 2013 gave you 5 Bitcoin. An iPhone 6 in 2014 gave you 1.65 Bitcoin. In an iPhone 6S, 2.76 Bitcoin. And if you notice, as we go to iPhone 7, iPhone 8, iPhone X, XS, 11, 12, you start getting less and less and less and less Bitcoin for your fiat currency. So what I'm trying to say here is that the more that you essentially save in fiat, your purchasing power gets less and less and less and less. So it's not that things are getting more expensive. And I say this all the time. Like, people always tell me, like, oh shit, like the economy's so bad, the world is so expensive, blah, 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 left, Y, X, Y, Z, and D. What a lot of people don't realize is that things are not getting expensive. It's essentially that the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Great British Pound, whatever currency that's in your native country, it's losing purchasing power, as you can see here, and as you can see here, and as you can see, obviously, here as well. So what a lot of people need to realize is that not investing in crypto is crazy. And it's crazy because the more you go, the weaker your dollar gets. So by 2043, to invest $1,000 into Bitcoin, it's going to be worth 0.000000124. And to put it in simple layman's terms, I don't have the exact number, but it'll be the equivalent of you so if you put $1,000 into Bitcoin when it's worth $1 million, it's the equivalent of buying like 75 cents to $1 of Bitcoin right now. You're not gonna get anything. And what a lot of people don't realize is that over the last 12 months, historically speaking, Bitcoin has done 30% annually. That's a very realistic and sustainable growth, and it really is. Now, obviously, let's say, for example, you actually listen to me, and you get or not one Bitcoin, because maybe you can't afford it right now, but 0.01 Bitcoin, which is basically 1,000, 400, and I believe it was 46, something along those lines. Over the next 18 years, that could absolutely change your life. Now, will your purchasing power be the same? Absolutely not. But let's break it down. If you hold 0.01 Bitcoin right now, and one Bitcoin equals $146,646 Canadian, Bitcoin grows at a steady 30% per year. You're holding it until 2043, which is 18 years from now. Basically, that is 146,000 times 1 plus 0.30, which is basically the growth that you'd get, which will basically equal the amount that you're going to get. You'll have over $115,000 Canadian, and that's off a $1,486 investment right now. And again, you guys can see that it's growing in value. But why is Bitcoin growing in value? Why is Bitcoin growing 30% annually every single year? I'll explain to you why. Because it's a scarcity asset, or scared. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's an asset that it's very limited. What do I mean by that? Is that you can't print more of Bitcoin. You can't create more of Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million tokens. And with that comes scarcity. With that comes, like, holy moly, like, I need to get this. Like, imagine this, guys. Like, I'll put it in very simple, like the most simplest terms possible. Let me pull this up here. Actually, no, that's not going to make any sense. Let me think of something that else. Okay, perfect. These AirPods, right? Let's say these AirPods, there's only 21 million AirPods in the world, and I own one. What do you think the value of these AirPods are going to be if I, don't sell them, obviously, and everybody in the world wants it. The value of the AirPods are going to get higher and higher and higher and higher. Well, it's the exact same thing with Bitcoin. There are only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. And because of that, the value of it will always go up. Because to add to that as well, the US dollar is being printed every single day. It's depreciating in value. The US is an enormous amount of debt. And as this thing happens, guess what, guys? The dollar is going to fall in value, and risk on assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all these cryptocurrencies are going to rise. But specifically, I'm talking about Bitcoin right now because, right now Bitcoin is the mother coin. It's a coin that you want to own because at the end of the day, everybody wants more Bitcoin. So you should start accumulating from now. You start accumulating before it's too late. And I'm going to show you guys right now, people like Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, El Salvador, they're scooping up thousands and thousands and thousands of Bitcoins daily. And it's making it it's making it very difficult for the average person to get a sliver of this. And the average person, like, imagine this, guys, by the time this becomes mainstream, the average person is not going to understand what happened. The average person is going to be like, holy shoot, what's going on? And price is going to go absolutely parabolic. It's going to go crazy. And your 0.01 Bitcoin is going to be worth XXXX amount because you got involved in it right now. So to wrap this up in a nice little bow, what I always tell a lot of people is you get the price of Bitcoin that you deserve it. There's no, oh, like, I wish I can retrace. No, you literally get the price that you deserve. You get the price that you focus on. You get the price that you lock in. And a lot of people don't realize that, this asset is going to keep growing. A few months ago it was 20,000. A few years ago it was 15K. A few years ago, before that, it was like $200. It's the best performing asset over the last decade. I'm gonna read you guys a quick note that I sent some of the people that I work with one-on-one. I teach them how to build profitable portfolios. I literally said this, guys. One thing I want you guys to take into account is this, and I'm gonna read it here. So I'm gonna read it word for word so you guys can understand. So on average, Bitcoin increases roughly 30% every single year. Super realistic when you take account all of the pullbacks that we get here and there. The goal for you is, if you don't already own, is to own at least 1 million Satoshis, which is basically 0.01 Bitcoin, which in Canadian dollars, as of today, is $1,466. By 2043, which is about 18 years from now, likely you have a family and kids. This would be your Bitcoin portfolio over the next 18 years, which will be basically $115,684. If we follow the same trajectory, which I believe we will, and we will reach it a lot faster, in my opinion, based on on adoption. I linked my YouTube video that I talked about why I'm saving in Bitcoin down below. And I said one of the things that I would love each and every single one of you guys to do is, after altcoin season run, is to start being on your personal journey to own one full Bitcoin. Or you can do what I'm doing right now and start accumulating and start your journey from today. Because again, Bitcoin is the best performing asset. The goal is to aim to own your first 0.001 BTC, which is basically $150. My apologies. Then it's 0.10, which is 1.4K. Then eventually it's one full Bitcoin. If you do this the right way, everyone here can have and own one Bitcoin over the next 5 years. But here's the kicker, guys, because there isn't enough Bitcoin to go around to everybody. So you have to move with urgency. You have to move quickly. That's why when anybody says, "Oh, why would I invest into Bitcoin?" There's another key thing that kind of is contradicting with what a lot of people believe. When people tell me, "Oh, like, my returns will be so shit," I laugh at them. When a lot of people tell me my returns are going to be so shit if I buy Bitcoin, why would I invest in it? I'll just invest in fart coin or shit coin instead. That's why a lot of people aren't profitable in cryptocurrency as a whole. I laugh at them because they don't understand what Bitcoin truly is. By the time everyone finds out about this in the world, this will be such a scared asset that it will absolutely go parabolic, more than it already is. massive companies like MicroStrategy, massive individuals like Michael Saylor, massive countries like El Salvador are scooping up thousands of Bitcoins every single day. And as they do that, they're making it harder and harder for the average person to even get a sliver of this asset. So do what you want to do with this information. You can start whenever you want, but I recommend starting to build your Bitcoin portfolio from right now and focus on accumulating 0.01 Bitcoin. Start with $10, start with $100, just start, because you saving and keeping your money in your savings account is hurting your chances of ever becoming financially free. And I'm not telling you this because I make bajillions of dollars, because I do not yet. But what I am saying is I study this a lot. I've wasted 4 years of my life doing multi-level marketing, which when I should have been tapping into this, and I've already should have made generational wealth, but I had to go through what I had to go through to learn the value, to build the skill. Maybe I wasn't ready for it back then, but I'm trying my best to save as many people as I can and show them what they should be doing, because this is one of the ways to rest assured that over the next 18 to 15 years, if you play this game right, you could retire and not have to work a job ever again by you simply accumulating your Satoshis, investing into Bitcoin, and doing all that good just like. And I know that it's going to be difficult. I know that, how am I going to get 6 figures? How am I going to do that? You leverage other things, side hustles, businesses. I day trade. Obviously have an altcoin portfolio, and when altcoin season comes, you accumulate. You use majority of your profits to obviously pay off your debt and whatnot, and the rest throw it into Bitcoin and start your journey to accumulate one Bitcoin. But hopefully, guys, this video brought you some value and some assurance on what you should do, guys. This isn't something you want to play with. I truthfully believe that these financial markets, especially the digital space, is the opportunity that our parents had during the 2000 dot-com bubble, during the 2008 housing market crash, and obviously our grandparents had the real estate opportunity post World War II. This is literally the best chance that you have to create some sort of financial abundance, some sort of financial cushion for yourself. And this is the best chance the average person has to freaking make it. So hopefully, guys, this video has brought you some value. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't, make sure you follow me on social media, because I always drop key information just like this, guys. Peace out, and I'll see y'all on the next one.